Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda, and this is my brother Eric.
How's it going, everybody? I hope everybody's had a good week so far.
How's your week been going, Eric?
You know, it's been going okay. I had a story here for you, and I've already forgotten it. But it was important at the time, and
That's where we're at.
It no longer is important because I'm getting old and I'm starting to forget these things. And so
you don't write it down.
I don't write it down. It's gone. I didn't write it down. So it is what it is. And you know what? In the middle of the episode, I'll be like, "Oh, that story.
Yeah,
got it. Let's do it. We'll run it back." But for now, we move on.
We'll roll right along. Nice. Well, thinking about Stranger Things, man, I'm really excited to talk about this next episode. We're on episode 3, and we left things off last after episode 2 with Joyce seeing a figure trying to come out of her wall. And the boys were also learning that 11 has seen Will, that she recognizes him in a picture, and she tells them that Will's hiding. We also have Jonathan running off after taking pictures of the party that Nancy was at. He was in the woods, being a bit creepy, and he's taking a bunch of pictures, but he is the last to see Barb, who was on the diving board right before she disappeared.
Yes, I was real hard on Jonathan last week too. At the end, I felt like he was the character that looked the worst, and that says something because Lonnie was in that episode. But it's just a bad look all the way around. But I understand. He had some redeeming moments in that episode too. But
absolutely,
we move on.
He's the outsider, and he gets a fair amount of bullying himself. So I think he's, I think the pictures, it's really just really symbolic of how he looks through a lens at life, just his different perspective. And we'll continue to learn more and more about Jonathan as we watch this series. But, if you guys like what we're doing here, please don't forget to help us spread the word. We appreciate the likes, the comments you guys are sharing with us, because that just helps us connect with more of you who are out there that would also enjoy listening in and joining in with us while we continue rerunning our favorite shows.
Absolutely. Well, we're really starting to see some growth on our socials. We really appreciate those of you who are checking those out. So go check out our Instagram, our TikTok, our YouTube shorts. They're out there. We really appreciate it. Share them with a friend. Hit a like on it. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
And with that, today we are covering Season 1, Episode 3, called Chapter 3, Holly Jolly.
Very Christmassy. No?
What?
It's very Christmassy.
Yes,
Holly Jolly.
Very Christmassy.
That's what I thought of. Not so much.
Well, this is a Christmas episode. So, we get into that a bit with the Christmas lights and the decorating. Yes. So we open up with Barb in this pretty haunting scene, I would say, where she is in the pool, but not in the pool as we know it. There's no water in this pool. It is covered with all of these vines and goop, and there's all these ashy-like particles floating around in the sky, not unlike what we saw floating around in the air in the lab when all those guys were in their hazmat suits. But it is even more intense, and we learn, this is actually, as viewers, the first time that we are seeing the Upside Down on the show. This is the first time that we're really in it.
Not really knowing it, because this first scene flashes, it's flashing back and forth between Barb trying to escape this pool with veins and stuff in it to Nancy and Steve.
That's right.
In the bedroom, making out, doing their thing, and you see the pool with water in it. Outside of Nancy and Steve, and yet Barb is also in the pool trying to escape the pool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you quickly see this demonic figure that is now in the pool with Barb. And Barb sees it and she is just running over to where there's the ladder, but the ladder is like half broken off. So she is just like jumping to grab onto one of the rungs and is trying to pull herself up. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, you're thinking she's never going to make it. I mean, there's half a ladder. She's trying to, pull herself out of this pool. And this beast is like right there, right behind her in this pool. And then you just hear her. She is just screaming for Nancy over and over again. And at one point, it flashes to Nancy and she kind of like turns her head, like as if,
Yeah.
did I just hear something?
Felt like she might have heard something.
Right.
Not really.
No, because it's like she's there, but she's not there. And as we kind of had learned in that scene last episode where like it almost seems like sometimes a voice will make it through, right? Where you had kind of heard Will say mom.
Yeah, on the phone.
And right. And it's like, is it somehow like getting through? And so, but no, Nancy, she's just continuing on hanging out with Steve, and poor Barb is struggling then to get out of this pool, and you just see her climbing out, and then you're face to face with Barb as she is pulling herself out, and her legs are still dangling over the pool, and you know what's gonna happen. It's like, oh, she's not gonna make it. She's not gonna make it out. Her legs are still dangling, and you just hear her screaming, and she is pulled back into the pool. And it's a horrifying scene. And that is all before the credits.
It's right before the opening credits. It's easily the creepiest scene in the show to date. And also the most gripping opening to a show we've seen so far.
I would say, between this and the pilot, right? Like that.
Oh, where the guy's running through the hallways? No, this is worse than that.
Well, no, because the opening scene, you remember, for the pilot, went all the way up to Will being in the shed with the gun.
Yeah, they did like multiple scenes before the credits hit on that one, for sure.
Yes, that one, because it was the scene with Will with the rifle fumbling to get the bullets in, and then this thing is just behind him. Yeah, that one was really good too. But I agree. I mean, they're both really good.
I wasn't both great, but I will say, I think this one was a little bit scarier. That time you didn't know what anything was. This time you've got a little bit of an inkling, and sometimes that doesn't make it any better.
Yeah. And then so we have the credits, and then we're with Nancy, who's getting dressed after she has now hooked up with Steve. So you just see the immediate regret on Nancy's face. That's my interpretation of that scene. I'm like, oh man, like she's just sitting on the edge of the bed, putting her sweater on and just looking back, and Steve is just fast asleep. Like she's trying to leave, and he's not even trying to say goodbye. He's just like, murmur something to her when she's like, I'm heading out. And you realize, oh, it's still that night, right? Like at first I was like, this is the next day.
Somehow I thought it was morning. Like, I don't know if the light through the window made it feel like it was morning.
I think so. Yeah. And it wasn't. And listen, she's lucky that it wasn't, because I think her mom would have like really lost it on her then, but because she was in enough trouble when she got home. Her mom is freaking out. She gets home and she's wondering where the heck she's been. Obviously, we have a kid that's gone missing. There is this other guy who is maybe killed himself, but it's looking like homicide at, Benny at his restaurant. And so there's all this crazy stuff happening in town. And now Nancy, who is usually the really responsible one, is staying out late. And she's coming home.
Why wouldn't you? Good decisions.
And she's rolling in wearing Steve's sweatshirt. And, her mom, again, this mother, she's very sweet. She's really trying to get Nancy to talk to her, and she's just like, just tell me what's going on. And Nancy just keeps repeating, nothing happened, Mom, nothing happened, and can I go, please? And
Yeah.
is obviously, I think, yeah.
Feel real bad for Miss Wheeler here because now as a parent, you're watching her say to Mike in the previous episode, hey, listen, you can talk to me. And he's not going to
Yes.
say anything
Yes.
because he's got 11 stowed away in the basement. And she's pleading with Nancy, listen, you can talk to me. Nope, not going to do it. And so it's like, okay.
Well, you know what, though? It's
So-
like, you got to give her so much credit. She is still listen, she's telling her kids, I'm here for you. Like, you
Yep.
can talk to me. And that, even though they are choosing not to in these moments, just her, reiterating that to them, I think makes all the difference. And
think
that
that's
just means the door will be open when they're
really
ready.
the best thing you can do is just attempt to show that you are there.
Yeah.
And they want to take advantage of that. Awesome. If they don't, just keep
Yep.
on being there.
Yep. And then we're with John, waking up to Joyce trying to talk to Will, in the buyer's home, right? So he goes in the room and she is just surrounded by lamps. And he's like, what is
starting to
going
look
on
a little insane.
in here?
Like all those people around town who are saying that Joyce is off a rocker might have some evidence here.
Yeah,
sure.
and John's thinking like, okay, is the trauma now just making Mom lose it, right? It's like, this is how she's kind of coping, and she's explaining to him, listen, like, he's communicating with me through these lights. Just sit and watch the lights. And they're just kind of sitting there. And one of them does start to flicker and flash. And John's just like, it's the electricity, Mom. It's the same thing that fried the phone. You don't need more lamps. You need to stop this. He's trying to really reel her in and just say, listen, like, he's going to work on finding Will with the cops by talking to Lonnie, but he wants her to relax.
He's trying to set the idea that, listen, Will's lost and we're gonna find him. It's okay. And that's a tough spot for Jonathan because he's now, aside from trying to find Will, trying to help convince Mom that she's going off the deep end a little and seems a little insane, even though she might be on the right track.
So one question I did have in this scene that I wasn't clear on, were all of these lamps definitely plugged in? Or were they just... Because that was a lot of lamps, and I really doubt that, especially at this point in the 80s, they had that many outlets to accommodate it. Like, were there even power strips at that point? You know what I mean?
Were there power strips? Yeah, I believe there were power strips or surge protectors
in 83. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident about that.
Okay.
Now that being said, no, we don't have the tracking to like actually go and see if they were all plugged in. But I'm going to tell you this. She's got quite the energy coming into that house because she's about to plug in every light that's ever been made.
Oh yeah.
And they all find a way. But I will say, we'll talk about it later as we get going, but clearly the electricity is not required. The lights are bouncing from thing to thing. Like it's not like they have to be on the same line.
Well, I was just thinking, as far as like sanity check goes, like when she's like, hey hon, like I'm like to John, these aren't even plugged in and they're lighting up, would be quite the different story than like, hey, this is lighting up, at an odd time.
Yeah, well, it would be, but I don't think we don't have enough evidence to prove that. But I do like where your head's at. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So let's criticize the power.
so then we're with the boys in the Wheeler's basement. And I love this scene, where they have their supplies, and it's like Lucas is really practical with like, hey, we gotta, find Will, and we don't know what's out there. He's got the weapons, he's got his slingshot, and then we have
he had things from Vietnam.
Yes,
like he
yes,
had all sorts of stuff coming out.
Yeah, I guess it was like his dad's stuff from the
It is.
war. It was and then we have Dustin, who had his snack bag.
Classic.
I just love that. And he's like,
And,
why?
and I like his argument though.
Well, yes.
He's like, listen, you're bringing weapons. Why do we need weapons? We got her. She's shutting doors with her mind. We don't need anything.
That's right. And then Dustin proceeds to walk over to 11, who's sitting on the couch with a Millennium Falcon toy from Star Wars, and it's this giant piece, and he holds it up in front of her like she's gonna perform tricks for them or something, and is like, hey, make this float, and then he just drops it and it just falls on the ground. She's just I love the expression on her face. She's like, yeah, no, I'm all set. Which then and then when we see her actually making it float in a later scene is great. She's like,
all right, I'm bored sitting here by myself. I'll make the thing float.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody gets to see it though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even Mike says she's not a dog, to Dustin, because he's immediately gonna come to her defense.
No, and then we get Mike giving her the watch and explaining that they're gonna meet together at 3:15.
Yes.
And so she doesn't know what 3:15 is. She doesn't know time. Like, this doesn't work for her. So he gives her his watch and says, when the number says 3:15, meet at like the power lines or whatever it was out behind his house.
Yeah. And then we're with Nancy at the school, and she feels like everyone is staring at her in the hallways because she's thinking to herself, Steve and his friends, like, they are loudmouths, and who knows who's told who, what's been going on.
Steve's friends are genuinely the worst.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Wheeler's pretty bad, not gonna lie. Lonnie's pretty bad. But Tommy and Carol, they're terrible.
Yeah, they're mean kids.
Actively bad people.
Yeah, they're the bullies at school, and that's where it's like, all right, so you have, actually this show, it made me think back to not to go off on a long tangent, but it made me think of the show Freaks and Geeks a little bit in the school scenes.
Great show.
Right? And I know we've talked about potentially covering that one in the future, and I think that would be a good idea. But it's
just got such a phenomenal cast. Sorry, side note.
No, it has such a great cast, and there's just a lot of just what what you can draw between all the different cliques at school. As the title suggests, Freaks and Geeks. If you guys haven't seen it, that one is more actually it's a nostalgic throwback to the 70s, whereas this is the early 80s. So there's a lot of similarities, I would say, with just like the different dynamics in the classrooms, and just for being in the United States in that time period. So
but you were making a connection to this somewhere with that
show.
No,
exactly. So basically, as I'm getting off track, but
I'm trying to peel you. But listen, I've already forgot my main story I was going to tell, so I got to try to keep yours intact.
Yes, no, thank you. So really, where I'm thinking of this most is where Nancy is really one of the geeks, but she is kind of crossing now, being befriended by this group that would be more classified as the freaks. Like, part of them, like Steve is more like a cool kid himself, I would say, more of like but a lot of those kids, they're really just looking for their place. They're all kind of mean, and they're more in that group, I would say. And they're trying to kind of pull Nancy over to their side, where then you have Barb, who's always kind of hanging around, but definitely on the outskirts, and really only there because Nancy's being brought into the fold. And that's where, if you remember Freaks and Geeks, there is Millie, who is Lindsay, who's the main character. She's like her friend from when she was nerdier, right? So it's like, and she's then plays this middle role. So that whole just friendship dynamic, and then how Nancy is being pulled into that other side, it just, to me, you can draw a lot of parallels there. Yeah.
Well, Nancy is definitely not one of the cool kids, and yet she's hanging around the cool kid. It's like she's got her first invite in here with Steve.
Yes.
And so she's trying to navigate how badly she wants to be part of this group or be with him, or how much she likes him. And listen, Steve's friends don't help him at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And
But
so much in high school is based, solely on appearances too. So maybe like the year before, who knows, like Nancy could have had a geekier look about her and then all of a sudden like, shed her glasses and like, did something different with her hair and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, now we're being noticed by the other group," So
that's all you have to do.
yeah.
Take the glasses off and change your hair. And that's what movies have taught me forever. It changes everything.
Right? Yeah. But then we have Nancy, in one of her classrooms, um, and tapping her, the girl in front of her in the desk on the shoulder and asking her like, "Hey, do you know where Barb is? Have you seen Barb?" And the classmate just turns around and says, "Shouldn't you know?" To really reinforce that they're always together, So she's asking her,
Right.
like, where's Barb? It's like, yeah, you would know more than anyone, right? So to me, that even then reinforced.
You're the person who knows.
Exactly. Yeah. So then we are with the cops approaching the Department of Energy. And we noticed how when Pedro and I were watching this, they mention Reagan's Star Wars, which was this actual, mission, this intercontinental ballistics missiles program where it was to shoot at the Russians with lasers, essentially. And they kind of made mention of this program. And there's also been other mentions of Reagan throughout the series. So that kind of like put us smack dab in
But I mean, it was part of, like, memory serves me correctly, it was part of like what ended all of the Cold War, because
Yes.
like we were going to build this thing that we definitely weren't going to be able to build,
Right.
but Russia thought we could do it. So then
Yeah.
they like were taxed and were trying to build a thing that we couldn't build either.
Yeah.
And, everything just kind of went sideways from there financially for both sides. But
Yeah.
it's cool that they have these references, right? Because this
Yes.
is now really helped set it into the 80s. Like that's a hot topic at this point in time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very nice to see that.
Yeah, and then I love this scene with Hopper too, where he's like asking to take a tour, so they're kind of stopped
Yeah.
at this gate, and he then turns on the charm, right? So it's like he's refused. They're just like, no, you can't come in here. And that's when Hopper just like takes off his hat, and he's like, could you speak to your boss and see if you could help us? We really are only wanting 10 minutes tops, and he's really just trying to get
Well,
in.
he plays the whole like, listen, I know he's not in there,
Yeah.
but I got a whole community like breathing down
how
my
it
neck.
is.
The mom's insane. Can you just give me 10 minutes so I can check it off my list so we don't have to worry about it?
Right. Like, relate to me. We're both cops here. Well, I don't know if the other guy, I think the other guy was military, but, they're both law enforcement.
There you
And
go.
so, yeah, in a sense.
Yeah,
So
definitely in a sense.
So then we're with 11, where she ate a whole bunch of their snacks that the boys had brought over, and or that Dustin brought over, and this is where she's making that Millennium Falcon toy float. And she just starts exploring the house again, using the lazy boy. I love when she just picks up the phone and is listening to the dial tone and mimicking the sound back. Like she's like, "What is this?"
Okay, kids.
Right?
That's the sound a phone used to make when you
Yes.
picked it up. Like, you don't
Right.
hear dial tones anymore on cell phones, but
Yeah.
that was the sound that things made. Then she was like exploring dust. And of course, listen, my moment in this whole thing is the He-Man comes on the TV.
I knew it.
And that was my show back in the day. That was
That's
it.
right.
I had all
Yes.
of them. It was great.
Yes. Yep. And then you have the Coke commercial come on, which then, starts this flashback for 11 because they made her crush a Coke can with her powers when she was in the lab.
And that's I feel like the first time you get the idea that like they're all watching her attempt to do this.
Yes.
Like it's some sort of like training situation, or
Mhm.
she's being used as a lab rat type situation. You're not really sure exactly what's going on, but you can see she does it. Papa is happy. So then
Yes.
Ella's happy. And it's like, okay, I did the right thing. So there you go.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, great point. And then we have Joyce nailing Christmas lights all around the house. And then she goes to buy more from Donald. So she's back at the store where she had worked. And she, is implying again that, hey, Donald, give me another advance. Like you don't see the whole conversation this time, but it's
He
implied,
says,
listen, I don't have the money, dude. I need these
he,
lights. Yeah.
he says something and she's like, just ring him up, Donald.
Just ring him up. Yes. I love Winona Ryder playing this like super frazzled character so much. She is just really great at that role. So then we're with the cops finding a drain pipe on the grounds of the Department of Energy that looped back around because if you guys remember from the last episode, they saw the other end of the drain pipe with the piece of the hospital gown. So now they're actually on the grounds and they're at the other end and figuring, hey, this is where the person went through, so we need to see this footage of what happened here. And, he talks to their security department. They're showing him footage, and Hop knows right away. They've shown us the wrong footage. They're lying to us because it rained that night. And do you guys see rain on this video? And nope, not so much. So you then continue to get that sense of like,
for
yeah,
what it's worth, the other cops didn't know what he was talking about.
exactly.
Hopper's like, did you see any rain on that video? Like, they didn't even track
No.
where he was going, which again goes to develop Hopper as like, no, he is good at this. He knows what he's doing. The rest of the cops would have just not even thought twice about it. And you also had the guy who runs or not runs, but one of the security people there just saying, no one could break in here over and over again. That's
a red flag. Yeah. Yeah. And you could tell, right. Like, I think what probably
to be fair, nobody did break in.
That's right.
Somebody might have broke out.
That's right. And I think what really points to his detective skills, right? Like he walks into this scene assuming that that people are going to be lying to us, or that assuming that you're not going to be getting the full story, assuming that there's going to be some obfuscation here. And what the other cops are thinking is assuming that they're going to get all the correct information, right? Like they are going to get the straight and narrow, that no one has anything to hide, right? I think like that shows the experience that Hopper has over the others, where it's like you're just going to assume that people are lying to you until you can prove that wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm still stuck on you using obfuscation.
I don't know where that came from. I love that word. It's a great word. Yeah.
It's a good word. I was like, whoa, get a thesaurus out here. But yeah, listen, it is what it is. And but like again, you think back to that very first scene with Hopper, and he just seems so unimpressive. And every time you see him after that, you go, oh, wait a minute. No, he's doing all right. He's doing the right thing. He's going to get this.
Yeah. And then you're back with these dudes in hazmat suits. So you're with 5 guys in hazmat suits, and one of them is Papa. And they are installing some unknown contraption into a root with the ash floating around. It's like there's this giant
it's right
root.
by that wall that we saw that seemed like it was alive and beating and breathing.
Yes, in episode 1.
Yes, in the first episode. We haven't seen it since. This is our next sighting of it, and they're putting something in play right near it.
Yes.
What it does? No idea.
Yeah.
But we're going to find out, I'm sure.
Exactly. And then you're back with Elle at the house, at Mike's house, and she is now exploring Nancy's room. And kind of just looking around. And again, I think she's drawn to the pictures because she just is trying to really get an understanding of like, what do other people do? Like, what do other people
Right.
like? She's never been around other kids outside of maybe some other children that she's been around, like in the lab, but you don't really know any of that
Yeah,
yet.
maybe.
Maybe. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but I think she's also just super observant and very
yeah,
quiet.
yeah.
And like, you don't even like, she doesn't make footsteps. She's just very stealthy,
Mm.
walks quietly around, and then you see her. She's looking at all the pictures again, and they start to zoom in
Yes,
on this picture of Barb,
that's right. Yeah.
and you go, does she know about this?
Mm-hmm.
No words are said,
But she's looking
but
at
there's an
him.
implication that maybe it could be.
Yeah, yeah, and you see, there were like these kind of photo booth type pictures that Nancy and Barb
Yeah,
had taken together, and there were pictures of Barb too when she was younger. So then you continue to also get that character development on like, how long that Nancy and Barb had been friends, and you also see like, you know, I think there was actually a poster of Tom Cruise in the background from like Top Gun or like something
yeah.
hanging on the
There were
wall. Yeah.
some like movie posters, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, so you just see this much more like childlike, I think, side of Nancy too, and that, 11's just enjoy looking at everything. But right, I think the recognition piece is really the main takeaway that does she know her from somewhere else? Um and, then we're with Steve's jerk friends, as we've established, making a whole scene at school. Um, when Nancy is asking them in the cafeteria, like, hey, have you guys seen Barb? And of course, they can't just say yes or no. They then start, talking about Steve and Nancy being loud and making all these sounds like right in the middle of the cafeteria, which is just super embarrassing and just reestablishes that they're not nice people.
no,
No.
no.
Yeah. Did you have anything to
You do
add
get a
about
moment there with
yeah.
Jonathan walking by. Jonathan
Oh,
looks in and
yes.
sees Nancy,
Right.
and the two of them kind of lock eyes across the room for a moment.
Mhm.
Not in like a romantic way, but
No.
just Jonathan sees her, she sees him, they notice each other. And if anything, I almost get the idea that Nancy's like, why am I hanging around with these people? Like,
Exactly.
I should go see what Jonathan's up to.
Mhm.
Not, yeah,
Not
that's
here.
all.
Right.
Like,
Like he's more
more,
my people than
he might be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That's for sure. They're definitely touching on that. And then we're with the boys, Lucas and talking to Mike about how he loves Elle. He's kind of making fun of him a bit.
Uh,
Um and I think he's just wanting him to focus on finding Will and instead, hey,
yeah.
you just love Elle so much, you just, want to spend all your time with her, right? Um and then you see the bullies come back over, the ones who had been in episode 1 and they're telling the boys that Will is dead, which is really harsh.
That's what his dad says.
Yeah. Right.
Mm. Which you have to assume people around a small town, there will be people saying that. Not everyone's going to be super optimistic. And so for the bully's dad to be saying that, like that
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah.
So Mike, though, still attempts to take the high ground and just walk through and be like, listen, guys, let's go. And just walks on by. And, one of them trips Mike and he hits the ground and essentially bullies take off.
Mm-hmm.
The guys are still there. And I thought it was a nice friendship moment for them to pick up the rock that Mike
Mm-hmm.
fell onto and say, this will be the one that we like kill the demon with or whatever, like kill the bad guy with. Because they had a slingshot, but they had no rocks to sling.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they had a rock. So that was going to be the one.
I had a moment where I'm like, is he going to throw it at the kid? Like, I thought he was going to like chuck it at the bully.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is going to take a turn. I couldn't remember I'm like, oh no, they're
Like,
just gonna bring it with them.
It's gonna go poorly because I don't think he's got the arm to make that happen. I'm not really sure that either of them can pull back the slingshot enough, but we'll find out.
We will, but I'm also thinking, I'm like, oh man, there's 3 of you, there's 2 of these jerks. Like, come on, kids. Like, but listen,
Band together.
that's right. But listen, we'll get back to that. Then we're with, Jonathan. Just not a good moment for Jonathan, where he's in the dark room. I'm thinking, isn't there a more like a private dark room, not at the school? But listen, he's working with the resources he has. And so he's developing these pictures that he had been taking in the woods in the school's dark room. And that is where this girl walks in. She's part of the bully group. Eric, did you grab her name? Did you know who the girl is that walked in?
She's not really part of the bully
that's
group.
true.
She's just like
a friend of a friend.
Just a random like passerby that clearly sides with them, or at least is like, hey, just want to let you know that this is what's happening.
Which
and
I kind of get.
For what it's worth, like what crazy eyesight for her from the angle that she was at to be able to see all those pictures.
I mean,
but
like,
I get.
Yeah,
I get.
At best, she saw a random girl behind mini blinds, like taking off a sweater. I mean, but there was no way.
I feel like you would have to be real close.
That's a great point.
To be able to tell who this was.
That is.
I mean,
yeah. That is a really valid point, because part of me is like, listen, I get it. Like, if she then in that split second she had eagle eyes, she recognized Nancy. I get then hey, someone has creepy pictures of you. I would actually appreciate someone telling me that. But
not only that, but you could also look at it from her perspective. Let's say she's not in the cool kids group.
Right.
Telling Steve this could be the ticket into the cool kids group.
Gosh.
So there's a number of avenues that this random girl at the school could have taken. That being said, she ends up telling them for one reason or another.
Yeah. So it's like, oh man, all right. Well, he quickly tried to grabbed all the photos and, booked it out of there, but it was too late. So then we go over to another just cringy moment where
this is tough. This is hard to watch.
Where Karen Wheeler shows up to the buyer's house, and Joyce opens the door to her with she brought a casserole over, and she sees all the lights in the background. And because
props to Karen, by the way,
right?
Trying to do the right thing over and over again.
Very sweet. She's like, listen, neighbors, kid has gone missing. And again, these moms, they know each other. They're friends themselves on a certain level, because their boys are best friends, and their families know each other. So they've all grown up in and I'm sure actually they don't say it, at least at this moment, but most likely Karen has also grown up in this town, and so they've all known each other since high school, or since they were kids. But yeah, she notices all of these Christmas lights just covering the ceiling, and Joyce invites her in. She's like, "Hey, do you want to come in?" And so not only Karen's there, but also little Holly, which I guess is kind of a callback to the title of the episode as well, Holly Jolly, in addition to the Christmas theme. So then you're with Hopper going to the library to find out more about these disappearances and other things related to the Department of Energy. And that's where you also learn that, Hopper hasn't called the librarian back. Apparently that was the woman who was in bed with him in the last episode, and she kind of gives him a talking to. And it's like, hey.
Sure does.
Yeah.
The other cop's like, the librarian?
I know, and I'm like, why not the librarian? What's wrong with the librarian?
Small town.
Right. Well, and even if hey, whatever. And
listen, my point is, there's only so many people. Nothing against librarians or not librarians. It's just like, there's only so many people around in Hawkins. It doesn't matter what their job is. Like, it's run out of options at some point, and you're like, what it is, what it is.
Right. And then you're back. So, so that was just this like snippet of a moment. Again, these scenes are really quick. It was just like, 30 seconds here, 30 seconds there. So then you're back.
Very quick
Yeah.
scenes.
So then you're back at the buyer's house, and the moms are talking in the kitchen, and little Holly, who was probably, what would you say, like 3 or probably about 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, no older than 5
Okay.
at the
Okay.
oldest.
Yeah, so she looks down the hallway and is seeing all these lights flashing. And is drawn to them, as most little kids would be. And so she starts wandering down the hallway and follows them into, is it Will's room at that point where all the lamps were, and where she saw
I
that was
assume
Will's room, I think.
that's my assumption, is
'Cause
that is Will's room.
m-
And in all honesty, there were so many lamps, it was tough to see what else was around, but I don't believe it was her room. I don't
well,
think it's Jonathan's room. It's not Jonathan's room. So
no. And my
it has to be
confusion,
Will's room.
yeah, and my only confusion with that was because then when the boom box was going off and playing the music, I had a
I
moment
assume
where
that's Jonathan's room.
so did I, but now that I'm thinking, it must be Will's.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. So then you see
Anyway,
her.
Holly follows it down there.
Yes, and you see then Holly staring at this wall, and this thing starts to appear again, and the wall is again turning into like silly putty, and it's protruding just how it did during the last episode. And just at that moment, you see Joyce coming around the hallway and grabbing Holly and saying, "Hey, you shouldn't be in here," which looks pretty crazy to Karen Wheeler. She's just like, what's the big deal, type thing. And she's like, thank you for the casserole, but you need to leave right now,
Right.
Then we're back at the school with Nancy, where she's calling Barb's mom. She then decides, I'm going to call her mom and check in with her there, because she must have just stayed home sick. She must
Right.
be just taking the day out of school. And that's where Barb's mom is like, Nancy, I thought she was sleeping over at your house last night. And Nancy tries to quickly back, but oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, she must have just left early, and, tries to cover for herself. And that's where Barb's mom is like, Nancy, can you just have Barb call me when you see her next? Because she's picking up that something weird is going on here. These girls aren't being completely straight with me. So.
Second time somebody's tried to backpedal on a phone in this series, with Joyce doing it in the first episode. But there's a lot of like, oh yeah, I called you for that, but nah, I was just figure something else out instead.
Yeah.
No real answers.
Right.
Right. But this leads to Steve and Tommy ambushing Jonathan by his car for the pictures, because the girl is there who has told them that he has the pictures, or he took pictures of them. And so they kind of, take his stuff, go through his bag, find the pictures, and ultimately end up, ripping some of the pictures up, and then deciding, well, they got to take his camera, because that's the only way he's going to learn. And so they break the camera, which is heartbreaking to Jonathan. And Nancy kind of stays behind as the rest of them go, and you get the vibe that she's helping Jonathan clean up, but then she sees pictures of Barb, and she kind of grabs a couple of them and just jams them in her pocket and takes off after the rest of the crew. I'll say, this to me was, I remember the first time I watched this series, that this scene stuck out in my mind as like, wow, this guy, Steve, who I thought might have had some redeeming qualities. No, he's an absolute jerk this whole time. Like, thought maybe some of the times you talk to Nancy, you could see that, nah, he's really a nice guy. He's just kind of stuck in this cool kid circle. No, he's an absolute moron. He's got to go.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
That's how I feel about him now. I'll change my mind later. But for now, he's a jerk.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. That was really harsh. That was a really tough scene to watch for sure. And yeah, the dropping of the camera and just watching it shatter on the ground was pretty brutal. And Nancy's trying to then really help him and console him at that point, even though she's the one in the pictures, right? Like, out of anyone, she should be the most upset. And really, she's then trying to then pick up the pieces a little bit.
Because she would never do that. Like, even if she knew that he had pictures, she would never, like, shatter his camera.
Yeah, and I
She
think
might yell at him for a little while, but that would be about it.
yeah, and I think like Nancy's probably also feels like, well, there must be more to this story. Like, she probably wants to have a conversation with him about it and actually talk about it. But then we're with 11 having another flashback, right? Where
Well, she's at the meeting spot a few minutes early.
That's right.
And
Yes.
there's a cat
Thank
meowing
you.
at her.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right. That
she
spurs it
does. She
off.
goes right into this flashback where there's her and this cat in the lab, and the cat is hissing and meowing at her. And listen, we just saw the scene. Now, I'm going to draw my own implications here. We saw the scene where she crushes the can of Coke and everybody's happy. And now we're here, and she is, face to face with this living creature who's in a cage and is like meowing in a way that is not a like friendly meow. It's like a desperate meow, a like painful meowing of this cat. And you get the idea that Elle is trying to do to the cat what she did with the Coke can.
They want her to.
They're trying to get her to do it. She's trying to do it. It's not really working. And so she ends up giving up. And that's when we see her being dragged to that room again by these two guys. And we have this whole scene. So now we know what happened before she was being dragged away to this room. And now we have her get tossed into the room, and we get this extended scene of what happens after, which is she uses her mind and flings the door open so harshly that one of these bodyguard or security guard people gets thrown into the wall so hard that it shatters and he is down and out. And then the other guy tries to come back in, and she twists his neck fast enough that it snaps and he falls to the ground. And then she just collapses in the cell, only for Papa to come around the corner, see what's happened, seem incredibly proud of her, and carries her back like just as she's just laying limp in his arms, and carries her back to who knows where.
Yeah. And, I did interpret that scene a little bit differently with the cat. So I was seeing that as like they were telling her, yeah, crush this cat like you did the Coke can. And she's just straight saying, no, I'm not going to do it. This cat.
She's like sort of doing it, but not really. Like she doesn't want to hurt the cat.
Right. Like it might be starting to feel something weird. Like she's starting to send some energy its way, but she can't go through with it because she shakes her head and she's like, no way. And that's where, Papa then immediately looks disapprovingly upon her and basically tells the guys, hey, drag her away now, put her in the punishment room, right? Like this dark closet. Right. And then after she throws the guy against the wall and snaps the other guy's neck and kills both of them, when he picks her up, he says, incredible, and looks at her so lovingly in the eye. So like he's just so approving and carries her like a baby down the hall and is just like, just the way he was looking at her, I'm like, this is so messed up because it's like, yeah, now you've killed two people. I'm so proud of you. I love you. Like, you're incredible. You're the best. But after she wouldn't hurt the cat, he is just like she could be dead to him, like she was useless to him. So it was just, yeah. Then you get a real scene, a real sense of what's going on there. Um, and then you're with Nancy back at the school, where she at this point is like, listen, she's making up an excuse to Steve as to why she needs to leave. Like she said, oh, I have to go do something for my mom. I forgot, and he's like, hey, why don't you hang out? Like, what do you mean? What's going on? And that's one of his friends even says, like, what do you expect? You're dating Miss Perfect, and so
Right.
yeah, he's trying to get her to hang out, and she is just like, listen, thinking about Barb, thinking about Jonathan, like thinking about Will, and like everything that's going on. She's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought that
And
was
we also had the boys come and get Elle and have her get on the bike,
yes,
and they kind of
right.
take off as they're going on their adventure. But then we get Joyce
Mhm.
we get Nancy back looking for Barb, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Nancy finds Barb's car, right? So she
Yes.
is looking around for her and is like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to where I saw her last, right? Like a detective would. And so she goes back to the house that they were at with the pool. And I'm assuming that's Steve's house. I kind of wasn't 100% clear on
Oh,
that.
it was one of their
Or
houses.
one of
I
the
don't know
other
if it was
kids.
Tommy's house or Steve's house,
Yeah.
but I think it was one of the boys' houses.
So, yeah, and so she goes back there, sees Barb's car. It's still there, right? Like that's not
Right.
good, right? So she hasn't
Something's
gone
wrong.
and got the car. It's still there. She's like, "Oh boy." So then she, goes back into the backyard, is kind of looking around the pool area, not seeing anything, and then goes back in the woods behind the house, and that's where you see this flash of this
Yep.
thing that reminds me of what we saw in the pool with Barb, right?
Well, it's very difficult to tell, right?
Right.
Because it's just so fast. But
Right.
we have seen throughout this series so far, every now and then, glimpses
Mhm.
of a thing moving quickly in the woods. And it's hard to explain what it is because
Mhm.
it's hard to see.
Yeah.
And when we do get glimpses of one thing or another, we don't know if it's always the same thing or if they're different things or how it works, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna be friendly.
Nope.
You can tell that much.
Nope.
So something's moving quickly through the woods while she's there.
Yeah. And she caught a glimpse of whatever it was and then is like, I'm out of here,
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at least heard
N-
it or something
Yeah.
and then took off.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. And then
And
we're back at the buyer's house, right? And
yeah,
you're then with the dog barking at all these lights again. Um, and Joyce is asking, like, Will, are you here? Are you here? And she's then grabbing this ball of the stringed lights
well,
and
she
is,
she
yeah,
follows the lights first
yes,
into this like cabinet.
right, yeah.
And so she opens the cabinet. There's no lights in the cabinet. So she goes into the cabinet, sits there, just grabs a chunk of lights that are not plugged in.
That's what we were wondering too when we were watching. Pedro's like, I swear those aren't plugged in. I'm like, I don't think they
No,
are,
she
but I
just
don't know.
grabbed a bunch of power,
Well,
like
then
just lights.
I was thinking, is she in the cabinet because they're plugged in through the cabinet?
But like if you look at the lights that lit across
Right.
the ceiling,
Yeah.
they weren't on the same strand.
No,
He
no,
just
yeah.
like lit the
Oh,
ones to get to the cabinet.
no. Yeah,
And
it
so when
was,
she asks
oh,
if he was there, and it flashes, and then she smartly goes to like, okay, yes or no questions,
mm-hmm.
one for yes, two for no, and she able to determine that he is there, and he's not safe, but
Yes.
he
Oh,
is alive.
right. Right.
And so then she asks him like, where is he? And like, how is he supposed to answer that? So she gets to the alphabet,
Then,
which is one of the smartest things.
right?
It's going to make you look insane because you've got all these lights everywhere. she's got all these lights hung across this big wall, and she just starts putting up letters next to each one, A, B, C, D, E, and gets the whole alphabet going.
Yeah, this is where I just
Smart,
wrote.
super smart.
Right, it is. It's super smart, but then this is where in my notes I just have, so now this is where we have the alphabet on the wall. Oh boy. It's just like this is, because their house is now not only covered with these lights, in the living room, but now we have.
Oh, and she's not like writing it in pencil.
No.
I feel like she's writing it. She's like painting tar on the wall.
It is
like
some
thick paint, whatever it is.
I know it is really thick black paint, and it is like this is not coming off. It's right over this wallpaper that they have in their living room.
But if you were gonna tell me that one of my kids was missing,
right,
and I had lights hung all over the house, and I figured out a way to communicate with them, and all I had to do was like put some paint on the wall. We're putting paint on the wall.
It's going up.
Like we'll figure out the rest of this later.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And that's just how that's gonna shake out.
Yes.
So I thought it was incredibly smart of Joyce very quickly to be determining communication systems.
Absolutely.
So whether or not this is real or it's all in her head, like it certainly feels very accurate.
Yeah.
And so I understand why she would keep it going.
Yes. And then you have this quick flashback to Nancy going home to tell her mom, like, listen, I think something terrible has happened to Barb. And she's just sobbing in the doorway. And she's like, now this is where, listen, I am going to confess to my mom. Something's going on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Feel good. I feel like this is a win for Mrs. Wheeler finally.
Yeah.
Where she's asking her kids to confide in her, or not doing it. Asks again, not doing it. And now here, when Nancy really knows something is wrong, she's there saying, hey, I need your help.
And then we have the cops back at the library finding Brenner in the paper. And
might I add, by the way, that they've been doing this through microfiche, which is awesome. Like, talk about something that I had to do when I would use the libraries back in the day that nobody will ever think of again. But that was awesome, watching them like scroll through that and try to find like old clippings of newspapers. Awesome.
Absolutely. I love that too. It's like, this is so important to point out for that time. The cops are at the library doing this research, people. Like, this is
they don't have like so last time I checked, a lot of these police cars like have full-blown laptops like sitting in them, so they can do whatever they need to right on the fly with a full computer if necessary. No, let's have the police drive to the library and get the microfiche out and start going through articles. It was a different time.
Yeah. And is this the first time that maybe that's mentioned in another point, but this is where we find out that Papa is Dr. Brenner, right? Like,
I don't know that we even are, we know this, right? Dr. Brenner is who Papa is.
Yes.
I don't know that I immediately drew that connection the first time I watched this. I think I just knew, okay, there's a Dr. Brenner associated with the place. I don't think I even recognized, because you don't get a great look on the article, on the microfiche. It could be that guy. It is, though. And I think maybe I just wasn't quick enough to it the first time through. But that is who we're talking about. Dr. Brenner being who Papa is.
Yes, and one of the other cops makes a comment about how he was like involved in some hippie crap back in the day, so some type of like experimental program. And Hop notes, the hospital gowns in the photo. Yeah.
And he's saying, listen, this isn't like hippie crap. This is CIA sanctioned mind control experimentation. This is different. If the articles are true.
Yes.
And there's just a lot of articles, even from earlier when we saw them flipping through them. There's just boom, one, another. So of articles headlined with things that show that the lab has got some shady things going down.
Right.
So
And
what
the
is it? You don't know.
Right, and the other cop is kinda like, "How is Will connected to this?" And he's just like, "Listen," Hop is like, I'm just saying maybe something happened. Maybe he was in the wrong place at the wrong time." Like, he's feeling Hop is just, like, intuitively knowing there's some type of connection here. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna follow this to the end, right? Like, he's just gonna
Yeah, I
keep
mean,
going.
the best that they have is they were in the woods looking for Will. They found the pipe with the gown. Now they don't know that like paths cross differently here, but they find the pipe. Pipe leads to the energy facility. They're lying,
Mhm.
and now we have all these articles. So it's a fairly straight line to draw
Mhm.
until
Yeah.
we get Elle then bringing the boys to the buyer's house. And
Yeah.
she says, Will's hiding.
Yeah.
And they're like, what, what are you doing? Like, they're super, like, confused. And yet, we've already seen Joyce. She figured out where he is. He's, like, hiding in the cabinet. At least that's where he says he is. And so
Mhm.
Elle brings him to the location. But
Yeah,
they
I
don't
got
get it. They don't understand her.
Yeah, now they're
And
just
so
annoyed.
then
They're just like,
they're
"What are you
they're
doing?"
they're suddenly they're
Yeah.
so annoyed. But then cops, ambulances, everything
Yeah.
zipping by,
Right.
and to the bikes.
Right.
To the
Like,
bikes we go.
part of me was also thinking as I'm watching this, like, guys, like, don't you think that that's weird though? That like Elle doesn't know where Will lives. Like, and just the
No, how
fact
would
that
she know
sh
what place this was?
right, right. So like, just the fact that she's saying that, maybe take her up on looking around there, guys. Like, it's right, but then when you see the police cars and the ambulance going by, then the guys are like, we're gonna follow these cars to see what's going on. Like, let's go to the scene of wherever they're heading, right?
And
So
as
that
they're traveling, we go
yes.
inside
Yes. So then you are back
with
with Joyce.
Joyce.
Yes, and she is saying, you know, "Baby, talk to me. Where are you?" Trying to communicate with Will, and she is now looking at the wall with the Christmas lights, and these are these big Christmas lights, right? Like we used to have with like the giant bulbs that would get hot. So each bulb is kind of situated above a letter. And so as she's asking, "Where are you?" the words "right here" get spelled out, and it's like it's so chilling. I remember the first time that I saw that, it's just like, "Oh my gosh, this is so, like,
Yeah.
creepy." And she's like, "What? Like, what do I do?" And then the next word that gets spelled out is "run."
And I'm not gonna lie, you get the R right
Oh,
away, and I thought, oh, he's just doubling down.
uh-huh.
Gonna spell right here, right
Nope.
here. That's where I am. And then you get the U, and it's like, hmm. And then the N, and it's like, oh man. And the wall
Uh
starts to move.
Yep, and it is so much worse this time because not only does the wall move, but then I mean this part to me I was like it's unexpected. Like it's like you don't expect to see this thing right in the face and the wall not only moves but it opens and this
Just tears
demon
open.
thing is just crawling out and like screaming at her and Joyce is like, "Yep, gonna listen to that guidance," and she is
See
out
ya.
of there. She just bolts, and I mean, yeah, who wouldn't? Like, wow, I don't need to see any more of that. I'm out of here. So
The only
then,
thing I always wonder about that, and we see Joyce running later, it's like, where do you go? How far do you run for? Like, what is the duration of the
forever,
instruction from the lights?
I would Forrest
Like, you
Gump
just
it right
run
up.
until your legs fall
That's
off.
right. Yes, yes. I am just running and
But
running.
what before we get to the end of Joyce's run, we followed the boys down to the lake,
Yes, yeah,
and
we're.
they are pulling a body
Oh,
out of the lake.
yeah,
And Hopper gets there with all his guys, and I do love Hopper coming up like to the side of the ambulance, being like, "Please don't be the kid."
I know. I know. And then you just see this body being pulled out of the water and laid out on a stretcher and I couldn't help but think that person is dressed exactly like Marty McFly. They had the Marty McFly vest on. And
he had the life jacket on. The life jacket that looked like a vest that was a vest.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right. And but yeah, the boys. Then you're with. Well, I mean, listen. This is a really emotional scene. To be honest, the boys they all had raced there. They are behind one of the ambulances because they don't want to be seen, and they all think it's Will. Right. So they're convinced it's Will, and Mike then just turns around and just shoves Elle away and is just so mad and so upset. He's just like, you lied to us. Why did you lie to us? What's wrong with you? You know, and because he's been thinking this whole time, hey, this new person in our life, she's going to bring us to Will and everything is going to be okay. And now it's like he just feels like she betrayed him and he immediately just wants to blame someone and get mad at something, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really
it's
tough
just
scene.
it's natural reaction for I think a lot of people
Yeah.
to not be able to handle the emotion very quickly, and so as such they just get mad.
Yeah.
And they just are angry at the first thing they see, and unfortunately for 11 happened to be her.
Yeah,
But then we get Joyce
Yeah.
on her marathon,
Yes.
just running straight down the road.
That's right. And Jonathan, he pulls up in the street, and then you have them hugging in the street, and Mike runs all the way home and he's sobbing, and then you have kind of the two scenes where then Mike is hugging his mom also. And one thing that I also did notice when Mike runs in at home and he's sobbing, and his mom just gets up off the couch because she's been sitting in the living room with Nancy, and who I assume are Barb's parents, all sitting together.
We saw Barb's mom on the phone for a moment, so she was there.
Yep.
And then I assume it's Dad.
It was Barb's dad. It was not Mr. Wheeler. Did you notice Mr. Wheeler
No kidding.
was the only parent missing in this equation? I'm like, wow, way to go, buddy. Again.
I am shocked at that information. Parent of the year, Mr. Wheeler. Go get him.
I looked at that scene.
I do also like.
Yeah.
I do like Joyce and Jonathan hugging.
Yes.
As the show is ending.
Yeah.
With the police cars coming to him.
I know.
Who you can only think are about to deliver some really bad news.
Yeah. Yep. And then you just the two, it all just kind of happens really fast where they're hugging in the street, and then Mike and his mom are hugging in the house, and it was just a really emotional ending to that episode for sure. Yeah.
They do such a great job of keeping you on your toes in this. And part of that is just the scenes are so short. So like it's bing, 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 like 30 seconds max.
Yeah.
And then they're moving on to something else. I'd be surprised if some of the scenes even get to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like
it's so
they're
true.
Just quick cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do such a great job with all of like the opening scenes to these episodes, and the closing scenes are just stellar. Like they're so good.
Yeah.
And the music that goes along with them, like that we opened up this episode to Foreigners, Waiting for a Girl Like You, where it kind of like came in and out with like the scenes with Nancy and Steve, in his room, and then it would kind of cut the music when then you were with Barb in the pool, and like how it kind of like
that would have
been
helped. Because Barb didn't have any cool music going on with her. It was all creepy and scary.
Yeah. So that kind of the music helped to pull you back into Nancy's emotion of the scene. And then it would cut out when you saw Barb. It was just really well done. And then we closed this episode with Peter Gabriel covering David Bowie's Heroes, which is such a great song too. And I had a moment where I was like, is that Bowie? No, it's actually a Peter Gabriel cover, which was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I don't know. I could have told you that, but I will take your word for it. I do like the song.
Yeah. It's a great song. Been covered a few times. It's always good. And so that's really where that episode ends. And I will say there were a couple things that I noticed that I wanted to point out about this episode. You know, where Steve steals Jonathan's pictures. I don't know if you noticed this. I found this online and I went back and I looked at it. A cell tower can actually be seen in the background
Oh, really?
and a modern
No, I
car.
didn't see
It's
it.
like this very quick flash, but it's like, what? What is that? What is that? It's yeah.
That's funny.
So that was kind of a funny moment, which I can't take credit for noticing. I was reading someone else had seen that. I'm like, wait, I gotta go back and check that out. So that was pretty cool.
I did not see that. I will go back though and look for it now.
And then as I had kind of pointed out early on, this was the first episode with a scene including the upside down. So that's kind of the introduction into that parallel universe, although we don't know that it's called that yet, but that we start to just get scenes.
We're gonna keep calling it that
That's right.
because we know that's what the term ends up
Yes.
being. But if you're watching it through for the first time, that terminology is not been even close to mentioned. I don't think.
No, not at all. And also, as we pointed out, and actually, so we pointed out that Ted Wheeler isn't in this episode, and it turns out
Thank God.
this is actually the only episode this season without him, though, at all. So, like you mentioned the last one, because I didn't notice him, but I remember you said, "Oh, he was in the background," or like I think he was at the dinner table.
He was in it. He didn't have. I don't think he had a line, but he was in
Mhm.
it. Just kind of like got up and moved through the background of a scene or something. Was it?
Maybe he was at the
Was he at the dinner table when they had
the
like,
boys over.
He was at the dinner table when 11 walked through the background and dusted, like just banged
I'm
on it.
thinking that's got to be the moment when he was in it, but I don't think he had any lines, but he was just in the background.
No, he did not.
And the other notable thing is, you know, I was thinking about how the scene really reminded me of Steven Spielberg's. Have you seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind? Where like you have the character of Roy, and he is just like Joyce, and it turns out that like that the brothers who wrote this this show really had that in mind when they were writing up her character too. So
I could see that.
So where she just
I could see. I didn't know that. No, I know you've done all sorts of research for all these fun facts that I always am looking forward to finding out what you've come up with, because it's always something unique. And I have seen Close Encounters of the Third Time. It's been a minute, but I can totally understand the connection between Roy and Joyce.
Yeah, where like he completely embraces the supernatural and it goes pretty much bonkers, and you see Joyce just deciding, you know what? This is where I am now because this is the best bet of, you know, having some connection with my missing child, right? So she's just fully embraced it. So, and it's also set in Indiana, just like they were on that movie, which is kind of cool.
True. Yeah.
I didn't remember that piece.
That's like when you talked about the show at one point being named like the Montauk Files or something like that.
Yeah, the Montauk Project.
Something or other. Project. Yeah. I think the Indiana setting just changes the whole vibe, right? Middle America makes it feel like it. You could have said it in Indiana or Iowa or Nebraska, and it would still kind of have that same vibe. But if you said it like Montauk, that has a different feel altogether. So true. So like all these Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I could see that being like these are all Midwestern type towns because they feel like small town in any state. Okay, so now we're going to wrap up this episode with our favorite character and least favorite character of the episode and our IMDb rankings. So let's start with favorite character. I have a couple, but I'm going to let you go first here.
Okay.
Do you have one in mind?
I do. For me, this episode, Joyce was my favorite character.
Okay.
I'm sticking with Joyce because kind of like what we were just talking about, with her just fully embracing the supernatural and seeming like she might be losing it a little bit, but just really listen, she believes in her son when no one else does. She still feels this connection to him. Definitely for what it's worth, Hopper is out there. He's looking. He's using his skills
Yeah,
to
he
find
is.
him. So that's no shade on him, but Joyce is like right there, right? Like she's talking to him through the lights. She is hooking up these new systems in the house. She's painting
Yeah.
the walls. Like she's like, I am here with you. And is trying to then communicate. So yeah, she is my favorite. How about you?
I do think this is a good Joyce episode for sure. I had two others. I had Hopper, who I'm going to put second, because here's the thing, and this is where the rewatch comes in, right? I know I've got plenty of Hopper's my favorite character episodes in the pipeline.
Yes.
They're all coming. Okay. So I'm trying not to burn them all up right now. He had a great episode. Loved him like smooth talking his way into the Department of Energy. Loved him sticking with everything, trying to convince his own like cop people like what they've got to do. But I will actually stick with someone who I probably won't pick all that often as my favorite character, and that is going to be Karen Wheeler.
So
and
true.
Maybe this is kind of like a loop, but I just I understand her trying so hard to connect with her kids. And like I said at the beginning, you're going to say, hey, I'm here. Talk to me. I'm here. Talk to me. If they turn you down and turn you down and turn you down and turn you down. But if you keep saying it, then someday they're going to come.
Yeah.
And Nancy showed up.
Yeah.
When Nancy really needed help, she turned to her mom and said, something's wrong, and went right to her. And it was kind of like a victory for mom. Not that she wants to take that as a victory, but like, hey, Nancy is coming to me talking about a problem. This is good. And so she's got to like make good on this now. And I think her also going to Joyce's and not being hypercritical.
Right.
A lot of people would have walked into that and gone, what are you doing, you lunatic? Even Jonathan did a little bit at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
But Karen just kind of sat down like a friend and said, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And I think that's just super admirable.
So true. I love that choice. I think that I'm right there with you. I think that I agree. The scene where Joyce, even when she invited her in too, because I was thinking to myself, I would just probably take the casserole and be like, all right, see you later, and just close the door.
Oh, thank you so much. And shut the door behind me. Like, nah, you don't want to see what's in here. It's crazy.
Yeah, which also probably speaks to like, just how well, how far they go back and how well that they know each other too. It's like, all right, so they, she's inviting her in at this point.
And it was a no judgment zone.
Yeah, exactly. How about your least favorite character?
Okay, so I'll go first here. And this is where, like, I know I went the opposite way for my favorite, but I have two characters that I'm equally mad at in this episode. But I'm going to pick the person who's like more the main character to be mad at. So I'm mad at Steve. Steve, you're the worst. Like, there were no redeeming moments from Steve in this entire episode. And not only is it literally one of my least favorite scenes with him smashing Jonathan's camera, but from him not moving to get out of bed in the morning, to him being like, Barb, she's probably just skipping school or whatever. Like, no recollection, not reading that Nancy is upset about this. Like, the only shred of humanity he shows in this whole thing is when he's like, well, why is she leaving? Like, he's questioning why Nancy left the school. And that's when Tommy and Carol are like, oh, well, that's what you get for dating the the nerd, or
Yeah,
whatever it was, whatever
exactly.
the
Little
line
Miss
was.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Little Miss Perfect, that's it.
Yeah.
Now Tommy was the other one. Tommy has absolutely no redeeming qualities. He even acts like he doesn't know who Barb is.
Right.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
But Steve, I expect more from you, Steve. It should have been better than that.
Yeah.
You weren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your worst.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that choice as well. And I was about to pick him, but then I also was thinking, you know what? And I have a feeling this character, listen.
You can't pick Lonnie.
No.
You can't pick Lonnie again.
I did not
He
pick
wasn't
Lonnie.
in it. They didn't even mention him. You can't pick Lonnie this time.
No, but what I was just going to say is that I have a feeling that, I mean, listen, I like this segment talking about who our favorite, least favorite are for sure. But also, listen, there aren't a ton of like this show, the characters are pretty limited. So we're going to end up on a bit of a loop with some of these, no doubt.
For sure.
Right?
But I also think there are going to be moments where you're like, this was such a great
Yes.
Lucas episode, or a Dustin
Yeah.
episode, or a Will episode,
Exactly.
or whoever.
Yeah.
Like, they're all going to have their moments in the sun. And these early ones, like, you have the entire main cast. But, like, Karen Wheeler is not really main cast.
Right.
She's, like, reoccurring co-star.
Sure.
Like, she's in a lot.
Yeah.
She's in the show a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's not, and she has some questionable things coming up
Well,
down the line as well. But for today, she's my favorite.
yeah. So
but yeah, so I think those types of characters are in and out. But anyway, who do you hate today?
Yeah, I hate Papa today. Okay, like listen.
Oh,
this guy, he again, kind of going back to what I was saying before, where like he's praising Elle for murdering the guys, and then is like so disappointed and throwing her in a closet because she won't kill the cat. And it's like, this guy is demonic, okay? Like he is just barbaric, horrible, like just awful. And you just then see the super dark side of who he is in those scenes. And he was,
I do think, now maybe it's just me, but I do think that helps with the rewatch.
Yeah.
Like, you know what's coming, right? I think the first time I'm watching it, I'm just watching all these scenes with Papa going, what is going on here? Like, it's not good, but there could maybe be an explanation.
That's so
where all this is okay.
Right. Yeah.
And I just don't know it. Now, I do know what happens in the future.
It's not good.
So
it's not good.
It's not good. But I think the first time I watched it, I wasn't so critical of him in the lab scenes because I was like, but what is this? Yeah, I was so concerned with trying to figure out what it was that I wasn't super concerned about the cat.
Right, like you don't know, are they trying to contain some type of evil thing? Like are they actually just trying to
You don't Are they on whose side are they on? What are they even doing?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they shot the diner guy. So that's not good.
And he was still trying to get her to murder a cat. So listen, I'm not okay with that. I don't care what they're up to.
I'm okay with listen, I am not this I am Karen Wheeler. I'm not judging your selections. This is no judgment zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. Okay, so now we're gonna get into our IMDb section where we instead of like our Friends episodes where we kind of rank them and figure out which one was our favorite or our least favorite, we only have one episode to talk about. So we are trying to guess the rating, or are you giving it your own rating? I guess we haven't really gone back and forth.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give it whatever I think is how I would rate it. And then we'll line that up with like, oh, how does that compare with what everyone else thinks? Like, how does this, what is it on IMDb? And how does that stack up? Like, do I think more of the episode than the majority of people out there? Or am I lower? So that's how I'm looking at it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll stick with that. I will stick with that as well then. So we're not just trying to, guess it correctly.
Yeah.
So then we do know this, and I will say we use this as a base. 8.6 is the average episode. So keep that in mind. So you don't just give it a 2. because I don't think anything's coming out of the show with anything less than probably a 7. So what are you going to give this thing for a rating?
So it's interesting. Like the last 2 episodes, I rated them both 8.5. And honestly, this one, it's really hard for me to like get away.
Are you
I
going
feel
to
like
give
that's
it an 8.5 again?
I'm giving it an 8.4 just to like mix it
Okay.
up a little bit, go crazy. But I feel like this one was slightly it didn't quite pull me in like to the full extent that the first 2 did, but I still really enjoyed it. So I mean it's right there. And listen, there were scenes like with Joyce, the thing coming out of the wall, and and Joyce finally communicating with her son, and he's telling her I'm right here and to run. I mean, all of that. The whole episode was awesome. But yeah, I just knocked it down. I mean, a slight margin. But really, just think these are all so good. It's almost tough for me to say that
Fair
it's
enough.
really different. But that's where I'll stand. What about you, Eric?
Okay. So I have not been just straight down the line with my ratings. The first one I gave like a 9.3, I think, maybe a 9.2. And it was an 8.5. And then the second time I said, okay, I don't like this one as much. I was too high on the first one. So when we bring it down a little bit, and I gave it an 8.3, and it was close to that. Like I think it was an 8.2 or something. So this time I've left myself like a full point of wiggle room between my 2 picks. I clearly like this one better than episode 2, but I don't like it as much as the first one. So I'm going to put it right in the middle and call it an 8.7. And I think that's probably pretty fair.
Nice.
Wouldn't be shocked if it was an 8.5. Like really wouldn't.
Right.
Especially since the average is an 8.6.
Yeah.
So
What
with that,
what is it? Yeah. What do the
we
people
pull up
say?
the answer. The people said 8.8.
Oh, this one was
This
the
is
best?
actually the highest rated to date.
Okay, that's interesting. That's cool. Nice.
I think the Christmas light scene with Joyce
Oh.
goes a long way.
Oh my god.
I think that's such a memorable thing with her putting the alphabet up on the wall and like getting into the cabinet. I think there's so much to like there.
That's a great point.
I also think the intro. I think the intro was real good. I know what you're saying about the first episode.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this at the very beginning, but this was a different type of gripping. I mean, you turn the show on and Barb is trying to escape a swimming pool with no water that's filled with like veins and stuff. And she's just trying to scramble her way out of it. Like you are thrown into the middle of a thriller movie.
Yeah.
With only the context of what happened in the previous episode.
Yeah. And it's like,
it's great.
And we're really then starting to cook more with like, hey, where is this plot line going? We're learning a lot of new information. It makes sense why the rating would be higher. Totally get that. And you're right. That scene really became iconic to the show with Joyce, with the lights in the living room. I mean, I remember reading this now where like Netflix actually had originally used the picture of Joyce holding the ball of Christmas lights lit up to her face as the original image of the show. And then it got switched out to something else. But that was the original, like, the snippet from the show of,
I feel like I might remember that. I feel like I might have seen that there.
Yeah.
That's, it's a fantastic stretch of this show. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really glad we're doing this. And I'm really looking forward to next week.
Oh, me too. Can't wait.
Okay. So thanks so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, we really love all of you guys checking in with us weekly. And if you could just share this episode with a friend or click on some likes or, just view a few of our extra shorts and reels out there, it would be really, really appreciated. Thank you guys so much for all the support you've given us so far. You can check out our website at werunonreruns.com. And for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching episode 4 this week.
Yeah.
And we will see you in a week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.
See you, pal.